The government. In the 1920s, the inheritance tax, because of World War I and World War II back to back, the world had lost so much economic wealth that the only way for them to revive the economics was to tax you. So they said, it is about being capitalist, you don't give anything to your children, make sure your children can survive, they are fighters, blah, 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 because they wanted to tax you. Inheritance tax had touched 90%. And the only way to justify that was by saying, give values to your children, not money, their values will propel them into the next century. It was the government. If you go back 200 years, there was no such thing. For example, when they say, how many of you have heard this? Diamond is a woman's best friend. How many of you have heard that? Who started that? Who started that? One company called De Beers, correct or not? It was one company, De Beers, that basically said, diamond is a woman's best friend. And today, if a guy wants to propose to a girl, he has to buy a diamond. Yes or no? Yes. There was no such culture 100 years ago. There was no such culture 100 years ago. It was one company. So can we do one thing? Let me ask this question to all the women in the room. What would you prefer? $10 million in cash or a 5-carat diamond? How many of you will choose diamond? How many of you will choose cash? You get my point? Alright. No, you've got to choose one. Can I choose both? That's called greed. On another level. You have $10 million, go buy whatever you want. And that proves the point that which one would you rather give your children, or what would you rather give your family? Insurance or diamonds? Think about it. A product that develops cash or a product that has no value? So, can we start a trend today, all of us? Insurance is a woman's best friend. Yes. Because you see, men don't do anything except for women. Right? So can we start a trend together? Because I can't do it alone, we'll have to do it together. Right? Can we do that together? Yes. That insurance is a woman's best friend. That maybe in the future, maybe 20, 30 years in the future, when a guy wants to marry a girl, she will ask him, do you have insurance? Hopefully. Yes. Right? But we have to start that as a trend, as an industry, as a community. I can't do it alone. Right? So can we start that today? Yes. Alright, so I want all of you to click a picture and I want you to put it on your social media, wherever. Insurance is a woman's best friend. Just put it up. Insurance is a woman's best friend. Let's start that trend as a community, because we truly should learn the importance of what we actually do. We protect families, we protect children, we protect futures that you have dreamt of. Your dream is my mission. That's our job, guys. Can we do that today? Yes. Fantastic. Now, when you meet someone, let's come back to that. By the way, you remember I told you that my kids, they will get $3,000 every day? Yes? By the way, I did not tell you there's a rule. They don't just get it like that, by the way. There's a rule. So there are 2 rules in my family. A little background, my dad's got 11 sisters and 5 brothers, there's 16 of them. Among the 16 of them, I'm the only son. I've got 23 cousin sisters. And we've got 37 children in the house. So we've got 34 boys and 3 girls, right? And all the children are going to get $3,000 every day for the rest of their life. But it comes with 2 rules. Rule number 1, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Never eat alone. Between breakfast and lunch, meet 5 people. Between lunch and dinner, meet 5 people. If you do that, you'll get $3,000 every day. How many of you will do that for $3,000 every day? Okay, so why are you not already doing it? Why are you not already doing it? I'll make you a promise. If you truly follow the schedule, I can guarantee you will earn $3,000 a day. I can guarantee it. You see, the problem is you're not even meeting people. We are living in a connected world where people are disconnected. We're living in a connected, a hyper-connected world where people are disconnected, and the only way to reconnect is to meet. The problem is, I meet a lot of advisors who tell me, Sanjay, is there a text message that you can send that will help me increase my sales? How many of you want to learn the texting strategy? How many of you want to learn the text message that will help you increase your sales? How many of you would like that? Okay, write it down. Write it down. Give you the script. Write it down. Hi. Full stop. That's it. Try it. It works. Just send hi. And I promise you they will come back. What do you want? I promise you. If you want to increase your sales, try this simple strategy. Just send hi. Don't say anything else. Don't say hi, how are you, long time, none of that. Just hi. It creates a sense of mystery. You know, it's like when the wives tell their husbands, we need to talk. Same effect. Same effect. You know, when a wife tells her husband, we need to talk, the husbands cannot do anything for the rest of the day. Now they keep thinking, what do you want to talk about? Now what did I do wrong? It's the same effect. Just write hi. It creates a sense of mystery. And they will reply back saying, are you okay? Because none of you ever say hi. You've forgotten to even talk to people. You know, I sit down with advisors and they keep telling me, Sanjay, I have a prospecting problem. How many of you have a prospecting problem? Be honest. I'm going to solve it today for you. I really am. How many of you have a prospecting problem? Okay, let me be very, very, very brutally honest with you today. You don't have a prospecting problem. Because all of you have a smartphone, yes or no? Yes. You have more than 1,000 people in your phone book. The problem is, you don't know what to say to them. So you're trying to look for new people because you think if I meet strangers, I will do a better job. But the reality is, if you cannot work with the people you love, you cannot work with strangers. The best advice is given to the people you love. I don't stop a guy on the middle of the street and say, if you die, what happens? He'd be like, why? I can have that conversation with my best friend. I can sit down with my best friend and say, you know what, bro? You haven't thought about it, but someone should. You know, I was sitting last night at dinner and there was a guy, one of the guys at dinner, he said, Sanjay, in the Philippines, we're very conservative about insurance. We're very conservative as a culture. We don't like to talk about insurance. Yes? Is that true? Yes. Alright, let me give you a very important variable. What is the penetration rate of insurance in the Philippines? 3, 4, 5%? Can we agree? Okay. What is the penetration of insurance globally? 3 to 5%. It's the same. What does that mean? It's exactly the same everywhere in the world. It doesn't matter which country you live in. There is no culture in the world where a child will sit with the father and say, Daddy, Daddy, when you die, what should I do? No culture. There is no culture in the world where a wife will tell her husband, darling, after you die, what should I do? What, are you waiting for me to die? There is no culture in the world where death is discussed. No culture. So stop thinking, oh, this only happens in the Philippines. This happens everywhere in the world. So please get this correct. You've got the strategy wrong. You don't have a prospecting problem, you have a conversation problem. You know, how many of you know rich people? Be honest. You know them, but you don't know how to sell them. You know rich people, but you don't know how to sell them. Okay, so let's solve that problem. I'll solve that problem tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm going to talk to you about estate planning. But today I want to solve the problem of conversations. How do you start a conversation? Very, very important. So there's a structure to handling or managing conversations, right? So we're going to go through the structure. This is what the sales process looks like. I'm going to draw it for you. It doesn't start with fact finding. It starts with a concept. Your concept will lead to objections, and your objections will lead to a close. After you close, it will lead to fact finding. So you will still do fact finding, but at the end of the process, not at the start of the process. You have to still do fact finding, but at the end of the process. The process starts with concepts. Alright, so let's come back to it. Now you're going to meet someone, right? You've got a meeting with someone, and what do they say? Hi, how are you? Correct? Yes. What are you going to say? Write these down. Write these words down, because this is exactly what I say when someone asks me, Sanjay, how are you? I'm so good. You know, last week, I met with this amazing guy, right? He runs this amazing business, and I was sitting down with him, and he said, Sanjay, you know, I've figured out everything with my business. I know exactly how my business is going to grow, but I'm worried about one thing. And I said, what are you worried about? He said, Sanjay, I'm worried that, what if my kids are not interested in my business? How do I shut it down? And I said, listen, your business, 99% of businesses shut down with the founder. So why don't we plan an exit? Why don't we plan an exit strategy? You know, there's a difference between inheritance and succession. Inheritance is the transfer of wealth. Succession is the transfer of power. Just because your children inherit the business doesn't mean they have to run it. You have to just change the structure of the business. So you don't worry about that. And you know, when I had this conversation with him, he was so relaxed. So I had the most amazing week, because for a change, somebody was discussing with him about inheritance and succession. By the way, how are you? End of conversation. If he is interested in inheritance and succession, he will want to know more. If he is not, next conversation. Move on. You don't have to try and do a sale in every meeting. You have to have a good conversation. You see, if my answer is something so beautiful, when I ask you, how are you? You're going to think, right, what should I say to this guy? I can't say I'm fine. The problem is, you don't have a nice answer. When you sit down with a client, when you sit down with a friend, it's a competition of who's got a better story, correct or not? So why don't you have a beautiful story? Why don't you prepare a story that when you sit down, it is muscle memory. It is muscle memory. As soon as you sit down with them, it comes out of your mouth. You sit down with me, every time you ask me, Sanjay, how are you? I'll give you a different story. Every time you ask me, Sanjay, how are you? I'll give you a different story. I have so many stories. Ask me again, Sanjay, how are you?
How are you?
Oh, I'm so good. You know, last week, I met this crazy guy from Dubai, right? And he shared something amazing with me. I thought I should share it with you. You know what he said? He said, Sanjay, everyone in the world falls in 4 categories, right? Luxury, comfortable, poor, and charity. And he said, Sanjay, imagine your family is comfortable. Now this family is comfortable because there is a man at work. If you remove this man at work, immediately this family will fall down to charity. Charity from friends and family, right? So we need to put a pump of money, because when there's no man at work, we need money at work. And there's a simple formula to know how much money you need. It's 10 times of your annual income. And you know, when he showed this to me, I said, why don't I show this to all my friends? So I had the most amazing week. By the way, how are you? How long did the presentation take? 2 minutes? Maybe 3? Guys, 1 hour? Really? Ask me again, Sanjay, how are you?
How are you?
I'm so good. You know, last week, I met this amazing guy from Dubai, and he shared something very interesting with me. He said, Sanjay, you know, when you look at a tree is strong because the roots are strong. You know, and everyone looks at the tree and they think the tree is strong. It's not the tree, it's the roots that are strong. If you cut the tree, but the roots are there, the tree will grow back. But if you cut the roots, the tallest trees will fall down. You see, your tree is your assets, and your roots is your income. Your asset value can go up and down, but as long as your income is strong, the assets will grow back. And there's a simple formula to know how much you need to protect your income. It's 10 times of your annual income that you need to protect. And you know, when he shared this with me, I thought, why don't I share this with all my friends? So I had the most amazing week. By the way, how are you? Two minutes? Okay, now let me ask you this question. Does it sound very simple? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do you know why it is so simple?
It's
Because
a
I
good
practice
story.
every day. The problem is, when you do this, I promise you, you will fail. I promise you. You will not have the right choice of words. You will not have the confidence. You will not have the, the gut feeling of believing your story. I believe it because I repeat it over and over and over and over and over again. It is now muscle memory for me. You wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you say, Sanjay, how are you? I'm so good, you know, last week. And I will start a presentation. It's muscle memory. I practice it every single day. Every day, the only thing I do is practice, 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 practice. How many people do I meet every day?
5.
10. They buy, they don't buy, I don't care. I need to practice. Yes or no? I practice. They buy, great. They don't buy, next. I'm a doctor. You don't buy, next. I really don't care. But I can only say that if my calendar is full. You know, if you want an appointment with me, you have to wait for 6 months. My calendar is so full that for the next 6 months, I don't have an appointment. Call my secretary and say, I want to meet Sanjay. Not available. I'm not available for the next 6 months. My calendar is already full. That is what makes me so confident. Now, let me be very transparent with you. Do I have days when I don't feel good? Do you think I have a bad day?
Yes.
I do. Right? So what do I do on my bad day? How many of you have bad days? Alright. How many of you want to know how to get out of a bad day? Alright, I'm going to give it to you. The only way to come out of a bad day is to have a discipline. Someone needs to push you out of bed. I have 84 secretaries. Okay, I have 6,000 clients. I have 84 secretaries. You know what's my secretary's job? Pull me out of bed. That's their only job. They will call me and call me and call me and call me, Sanjay, you're late for a meeting. Sanjay, you have got to go here. Sanjay, you have to go there. I have to literally tell my secretaries, guys, human, can I sleep? I'm tired. I didn't sleep well last night. Okay, we'll cancel one meeting. Go for the next one. You know, it's very easy to cancel meetings. All you have to say is, Sanjay's not feeling well. That's it. That's it. But it's very difficult to get meetings, yes or no? So fill up your calendar. If you can't go, cancel. But if your calendar is empty, you feel desperate. You don't have the confidence in your stomach to have good conversations. So fill up your calendar. If you're not feeling good, it is okay to cancel. But when you wake up in the morning and you see the list of people you have to meet, you look at that list and you're like, shit, getting that appointment is so difficult, forget it. Okay, I feel good today, I feel good, I feel good. Yes, come on, Sanjay. I say that to myself. Because it's true. It's true that when you get an appointment with someone, you get a meeting with someone, you don't want to lose that opportunity. It's an opportunity. Let's say today, by the way, I only meet rich people. And getting a meeting with them is very difficult. Can we agree? 100% of my clients are rich. That's the difference. You see, when I started in this business 25 years ago, so I'm going to give you a strategy on how to reach where I am. Because you have to have a strategy. You can't suddenly become Sanjay, correct? There's a strategy. So I'm going to teach you a strategy. Our business is like a heartbeat. Okay? Small cases, big cases. Small cases, big cases. Small cases, big cases. If you're only focusing on big cases and you don't close for a big time, what happens? You die. So you need the small cases and the big cases. Small cases, big cases. Small cases keep you alive, big cases make you rich. So you need the small, the big, the small, the big, the small, the big, the small, the big, just like a heartbeat. The small cases, if you don't get a big case for a long time, it's okay because you've got small cases, you're still alive, 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 rich, alive, 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 rich. It's okay. Right? But if you don't have any case, you don't die, you die, you flatline. Okay? So, small cases, big cases. What is a small case? So let's define small and big, because small for you might be big for me might be small for you. Okay? So let's define small and big. Small case is a case that you close every week. You need to close at least one case a week. That's a small case. A big case is a case that you close once in a month. It might happen, might not happen. Might happen, might not happen. But small cases, one every week. Big cases, one every month. Now, for small cases, I would recommend to try to do 2 every week. Okay? 1 is minimum, 2 is preferable. 1 to 2 every week. Okay? Now, for me today, a small case is $5 million. A big case is $100 million. Okay, so I'm closing at least one $5 million case every week. For me, a big case is $100 million I close once in a month. Okay, that's today. 5 years ago, my small case was 1 million, my big case was 10 million. 20 years ago, my small case was 100,000 and my big case was 5 million. 25 years ago when I joined this business, my small case was any case and my big case was any case. It doesn't matter. But as you become older and older in this business, you have to learn to increase your ability to improve your small and your big. It's just like when you go to the gym. When you go to the gym for the first day, you can walk 15 minutes. After 1 week, you can jog 15 minutes. After 6 months, you can run 15 minutes. After 1 year, you're able to run a little bit longer. And if you practice for 2 years or 3 years, you will be qualified to run for the marathon. Can we agree?
Yes.
It's the same in our business. As you improve your stamina, as you improve your choice of words, as you improve your presentation, as you improve your system, you will automatically grow. And if you stop doing it, what happens? You start to lose it again. Just like the gym. And this is something my grandfather taught me. My grandfather said, Sanjay, whatever you don't use, you will lose. Whatever you don't use, you will lose. If you don't use your brain, you will lose your brain. If you don't use your muscles, you will lose your muscles. If you don't use your network, you will lose your network. The more you use, the more you get. The lesser you use, the more you lose. Keep this in mind. Whatever you don't use, you will lose. If you forget, you lose the ability. You don't converse. You don't have communication. You don't discuss. You don't talk. You don't meet people. You don't make this a habit. You will lose the ability to talk. Think about children. You think of a 3, 4, 5-year-old boy, right, or a girl, they will keep talking. You have to literally tell them, shut up! How many of you have got kids who are 3, 4, 5 years old? Can they shut up? No. You have to literally tell them, enough. And what happens as they age? They learn to stop talking. Because you keep telling them, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. And as they age, they stop talking to you, and then you wish they talk to you, correct or not? Because they're now talking to other people. You see, when they want to talk to you, you stop them. And now, when you want to talk to them, what do they tell you? I'm busy. Guys, it's the same with any relationship. If you have lost touch with your friends, time to restart that conversation now. If you have lost touch with your high school friends, your university friends, your alumni network, whoever you have lost touch with, can you do me a favor? Send them a message. Hi. It works. Miracles. It absolutely works. Miracles. Try it. That is true prospecting. Rebuilding lost relationships. You don't even have to establish credibility. You are already an acquaintance or an old friend. And I promise you, your old friends will only be happy to hear from you, not sad. I can promise you that. Try messaging a friend who's 25 years old. 25 years ago, I went to my school reunion. We just celebrated 25 years of graduating from high school. You know what happened at the reunion? We couldn't stop laughing, crying, hugging, and talking about all our young childhood days. We loved it. Now we're all connected. We are helping each other in business. When was the last time you asked your clients, what can I do to help your business? Instead of asking for business, why don't you help them become wealthy? You are the average of the 5 people around you. Can we agree? So who are the 5 people you are spending time with? Choose ones. Choose very wisely. And I'm going to tell this to all of you. If you don't achieve POT, I'm not going to talk to you. Because you're dropping my average. True or not? So today I'm here, we might as well increase everyone's average. I want every single one of you to increase your standard. Because otherwise you will not have friends who will want to spend time with you. People like to spend time around people who are successful, positive, innovative, creative. People don't like talking to people who keep talking about negative, negative, negative. Unfortunately, our business is a business of negatives. I remember, when I joined this business many years ago, my trainer, he told me, he said, Sanjay, ask this question. If you die, what happens? Can you imagine? I sat down with a client one day, I was sitting with him and I looked him in the eye, confidence. Guys, I'm always confident, right? Confidence. Looked him in the eye and I said, if you die, what happens? And he looked at me and he said, nothing. What will happen? Nothing will happen, sir. Everything will go on. How are you going to handle that? No, your family will be upset. No, they'll move on. 2 weeks, they'll cry. Then you're forgotten. How many of you think after you die, people will cry? How many of you think that? Exactly, you see, you know the truth. Nobody's going to cry if you die. They will forget you like this. Like that. So why do you want to sell that dream? You wish they cry. Can we agree? How many of you wish people cry or remember you after you die? Be honest. We all wish it. It's not going to happen. We wish that people will say, oh, Sanjay was a nice guy. You will say, rubbish. You will forget, who's Sanjay? It's a fact. Why do you sell something nobody wants? How many of you are looking forward to falling sick and claiming your critical illness? How many of you are excited? Any of you want to fall sick? You see, nobody wants our product. Nobody wants to fall sick. Nobody wants to die. How many of you are looking forward to becoming 65 and retire? None of you, right? Let me ask all of you a question. How many of you want to retire in the next 5 years? Be honest. You see? So why do you sell retirement at 65? Who wants to retire at 65? Nobody. Everybody wants to retire in 5 years, yes or no? So why are you not planning for that? How many of you would like to work with me that if I guarantee in 5 years you will retire, how many of you would like to work with me? I'll be your advisor. In 5 years, I'll make sure you retire. Will you work with me? Will you do what I tell you to do? Exactly. That's my dream. I ensure that you retire. That's my job. The sooner, the better. I'm going to find a way to make you retire. That's my job. I'm going to push you, I'm going to test you, and I'm going to make sure that you retire in the next 5 years. How many of you wish I'm your advisor? Exactly. You see, this is what I call public sale. I can sell insurance to insurance people. That is talent. Where I can sell insurance to insurance people, that is talent. And that comes from only two things: confidence and knowledge. Confidence and knowledge. How much time are you spending to build yourself? I have 7 mentors in my career. I have 7 mentors. And every time I sit down with them, I'm thinking, what can I do better? I spent 4 days with my mentor in January. And I was sitting with him and I was discussing about the plan for 2025. Right? So 4 days I flew, he lives in the US. I flew to the US and I was sitting with him 4 days. We were just sitting and talking and talking and talking. Right? And I was asking him, what should I do? I'm planning to do this, I'm planning to do that. And I have conversations with him. There's no training, it's a 4-day conversation. I sit down with him and I have a conversation about what I should do with my life. How many of you have a mentor in your business? If you don't have a mentor, please find one. It's very important to have a mentor that you can talk to. Not learn from, talk to. You might not learn anything, but you need someone to be able to bounce good ideas from. And choose a mentor who is more successful than you because you want to achieve that status. Keep that in mind. Last year, my premium collection was 20 billion US dollars. Who told you? So people ask me this question, Sanjay, why do you work so hard? I'm going to answer that question today for you. I'm going to answer that question today. I want to prove that as an insurance advisor, I can be a billionaire. I don't want to say, oh, if I'm a businessman, I can become a billionaire. If I do trading, I can become a billionaire. If I run a pharmaceutical company, I can become a billionaire. I want to prove that as an insurance advisor, not recruiting, as an insurance advisor, I can become a billionaire. That is my goal. Because nobody grows up with a dream to become an insurance agent. Can we agree? Yes. How many of you dream you will become an insurance agent? Whose childhood dream was it? None of you, right? Exactly. You see, we came into this business by mistake. Somebody sold us lies. You know, we are the least competitive industry in the world. You know, people tell me, Sanjay, insurance is very competitive, there are so many people. I said, no. This is the least competitive industry in the world. And I'll explain why. There is no child that wants to become an insurance advisor. So there's no new population joining us. Every day, 10,000 children graduate as doctors. 10,000 children graduate as lawyers. 10,000 children graduate as engineers. 10,000 children graduate as pilots. Nobody graduates with the mindset, I will now become an insurance agent. Nobody. And the best part is, people join this business part-time. I love it. I love the part-timers, I tell you why. Because have you ever gone to a doctor who says, I'm a part-time doctor? Can you imagine go to a doctor and say, yeah, I do this part-time. Once in a while I'll do a surgery. Oh. No competition in this business. Easiest business in the world. Because I sell guarantees. I can guarantee you will die. I can guarantee you will fall sick. I can guarantee you want to retire. I can guarantee if you have children, they will want to study. I sell guarantees. I have no competition. I have no competitor in the world. Because nobody grows up to become me. Nobody is willing to invest to become successful. They hope, but they don't invest. They hope they will become successful. Maybe one big case, and Sanjay, my life will turn. No, it won't. It won't. I have no competition. And you know what a lot of advisors do? They become TOT, and then they will go and open a restaurant. They will open a boutique. They will start doing real estate. They will start doing investments. And they will leave the business. That's what I love about this business. Even the guys who are successful leave. Perfect. The more they leave, the more I get. If you truly want to become successful in this business, there are two things you have to do. Number one, be full time. Number two, stay. Number one, be full time. Number two, stay. If you stay in this business, you are guaranteed to beat your competition because your competition will leave. Stay. My family has been in this business for 3 generations. We are a generational business. How many people can say they are in this business for multiple generations? How many? Very few. Almost none. You see, my competition is automatically eradicated as soon as I say I'm third generation in the business. True or not? You see, the problem is when a child is born in our house, right? If you're born in a teacher's house, right, your children will become teachers. If you're born in a doctor's house, your children will become doctors. If you're born in an engineer's house, your children will become engineers. If you're born in an insurance agent's house, they will tell you, follow your dream. Be what you want to be. All that bullshit. I'm telling you, I pray all the children are born in insurance agent's house so they can do what they want. Because we don't want our children to join the business. How many of you are training your children to join this business? Exactly, you can count 5 hands, 6 hands. That's my competition. 5 people who are hoping their kids will join. I have no competition. This is the least competitive industry in the world. And now you know why prospecting is not a problem for me. Because none of you are talking to people. Yeah, you're going on TikTok and doing happy birthday. Everybody, let's go TikTok. That's all you're doing. That's literally what you guys are doing. Wasting time. Because you have time, I don't. Stop wasting time, guys. Really, stop wasting time. By the way, let me give you some good news and some bad news. Okay? So I'm going to give you some very good news and some very bad news. You want the good or the bad? Okay, bad news. You are all going, okay, who's below the age of 50? All of you below the age of 50, raise your hand. Okay, you all are going to cross 150 years in life expectancy. You're going to live 150. You're not going to die. Thanks to technology. This is the latest research. This is the actual latest research from a longevity institute. Average life expectancy is going to cross 120. If you're below the age of 50, you have another 100 years to live. If you're below the age of 25, how many of you below the age of 25? Or around 25? Okay. Get ready. 200. You're not going to die. Let me give you the good news. Now, this is the bad news. Let me give you the good news. Healthy. You're not going to fall sick. Because of the latest technology that's coming up in stem cells and research and new pharmaceuticals that are coming up, blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, cancers will cease to exist. We will have cures. In the next 36 months, not years, in the next 36 months, we're going to live longer, we're going to live healthy, and we're not going to have a problem of longevity or health. Now the problem is you have 100 years. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? That's going to be your problem. If today you find out that you're never going to retire, if today you find that out, that you're never going to retire, what will you change in your schedule? Think about it. If today you find out that you're never going to retire, and by the way, that is reality 100 years ago. 100 years ago, nobody retired. You were born and you worked till you died. Period. So now that you know that you're never going to retire, if you know that today, what will you change? Please write this down. Think about this, because this is your homework. Tell me tomorrow. What will you change? Alright? So I'm going to give you 4 things that will help you find purpose. Okay? I'm going to give you 4 things that will help you find purpose in a 100-year life. Okay? Number 1, find something that inspires you. Find something that inspires you. Find something that agitates you, makes you upset. Find something that makes you upset. You will find a way to solve it. Right? Because if you're upset, some other people are upset as well. Solve it. Number 3, find something that excites you. Find something that excites you. And number 4, find something that you think is missing. Find something that you think is missing and solve that problem. One of these are the 4 ways to find purpose in your life. By the way, I want to tell you something very funny and scary at the same time. I have just cloned myself. 3 people in my family are getting cloned as we speak. Me, my mom, and my dad. We've just started the cloning process. We've actually cloned our brains. It's not AI, it's not artificial intelligence, it's my clone. It's my knowledge that's getting transferred into what we call an artificial brain. And you can actually have a conversation with me as if it's actually me. It has my knowledge, no other knowledge. So it's not AI, it's an artificial brain. It has my knowledge. How many of you have watched the movie Superman? In Superman, do you remember when Superman goes to his spaceship and he can talk to the hologram of his father? And his father trains him? That's being built. That's happening today. It's already being done for me. My clone has been built. It's already been deployed. It launched 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, my clone was launched. I use that as a way to have conversations with people I don't have time to have conversations with. It talks like me. It will give you the same way. It talks exactly like me. It has my knowledge. It has no outside knowledge. You can actually talk to it. You can tell it, I have uploaded my case studies into my clone. So you can actually tell my clone, all right, I am meeting this kind of a client. What should I say? And my clone will say exactly what I say. You know, last week, and it will tell you a case study. It will give you a story. So you can say, you know, I'm meeting this client, what should I say? It'll do exactly the same thing. So what I'm saying right now on stage, I'm basically replacing myself on stage because I realized I can't do this all the time. I can't stand on stage and have these conversations. I don't earn any money from this, guys. Let me make one thing clear. I don't earn any money from my books, my speeches. I earn $0. It all goes to charity. This is not my business. My business is to sell insurance. I'm not a trader. Let me get that very clear. I'm not a trader. I'm a financial advisor just like every single one of you, and that's what I do for a living. I teach because it gives me pleasure. But it's taking up too much of my time, which is affecting my productivity. So my clone will be doing that in the future because I don't have the time. Plus, I can practice with my clone for myself. Because you see, when I practice with you guys, you give me only positive feedback. You never give me, oh Sanjay, you said the wrong word. Sanjay, you don't sound confident enough. You don't tell me that. My clone does. How many of you want to see my clone? Okay, I'll try to see if I can organize it tomorrow. You will see me talking to my clone, right? And I will do a case study, I will do a role play with my clone, and you will see how critical my clone is with me. My own clone will tell me you're wrong, which is brilliant. Because I need someone to tell me, Sanjay, you're wrong. This is what you need to change to improve. I also need to improve, guys. Even I want to become better, and I can only become better if someone better than me can challenge me. And who better than me than myself? My old knowledge, my new knowledge, by the way, it's extremely expensive to make the clone, just for your knowledge. I've spent a lot of money because I'm cloning my mom and my dad. And the reason why I'm cloning it is they're losing their memory. So I want to record their memory, so in the future, if my kids want to talk to their grandparents, they can actually talk to their grandparents. And then the great-grandchildren can talk to the grandparents because the clone will live forever. Right? So can you imagine my great-grandchildren, my grandchildren will have the opportunity to actually talk to their grandparents, right? Or their great-grandparents, where you can sit down and have a conversation. Why did you build this? Why did you do that? And my father can actually have a conversation into the future that he can't see. So we're recording all his memories, his thoughts, his strategy, and there are different avatars of the clone. So like for example, the way I'm on stage is different from the way I'm with my friends. So my friends will have access to a different clone of me. They can have a friendly conversation with me with nothing to do with work. Right? My clients can have a separate clone that they talk to me where they say, Sanjay, this is what I'm planning to do, what should I do? My clone will give advice in the future. My clone. Right? I'm just telling you what the future looks like. It's not happening, it's happened. It launched 2 weeks ago, and 300 of my mentees, so I mentor about 300 mentees. 300 mentees, they use my clone. I'll tell you the feedback they gave me. They gave me 4 feedbacks. Number 1, Sanjay, it is smarter than you. Sanjay, it's more patient than you. Right? It's not sarcastic like you know. It's more patient, it's a lot more sweeter. Number 3, Sanjay, it's more detailed than you. Right? Because you see, I assume you have certain knowledge. So I don't give you the details, I give you the answer. It gives you the process. That's the difference between me and my clone. My clone is a lot more patient, so it's a lot more detailed. And number 4, Sanjay, it's available. You're not. So, guys, the future is not coming, it has already come. It's not coming, it has already come. You need to learn to build yourself faster than ever before. Learn, 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 learn. That's all I want to tell you. Now, we've got 10 minutes left, okay? I want to know, do you have any questions about today? Any questions? If you have any questions, can you come up close to the front of the stage? You can ask me any questions whatsoever. You can ask me about my business, you can ask about my life, you can ask about my practice, about my system, any question you have, right? If you can just come to the front, it will be easy so that the guy doesn't have to run around the whole hall, right? So if you can, any question whatsoever.
Hi, Dr. Sanjay.
Hi.
Have you ever had the experience of speaking with someone who was initially skeptical or non-believer in insurance, only to have them eventually become a client? And if yes, how did you approach the conversation or address their concern that ultimately helped them to see the value of insurance and become a client?
All right. What's your name?
Geraldine.
Geraldine. Geraldine, I'm going to give you 1 second. Stay with me. Stay with me. You and I. Don't worry. Don't worry about that. All right. Geraldine, this is for you. It's got 27 concepts which you can use for your clients, but let me answer that specific question. So I had a client once, he said, Sanjay, I don't believe in insurance because God is my insurance. How many of you heard that? So I'm going to tell you how I handle objections, right? Objection handling is a 4-step process. Objection handling is a 4-step process. Step number 1, right? 4 steps. Acknowledge the objection. Step number 2, ask the right question. Step number 3, give a solution or an example. And step number 4, make it relatable. It doesn't matter what objection you give me, believer, non-believer, blah, 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 whatever. It's a 4-step process. So I'm going to share exactly the 4 steps, right? Mr. Client, I'm so glad you told me that God is your insurance. But let me ask you a question. Did you know about this story? There was a beautiful village. In this village, there was a beautiful temple. And every day the priest would go to the temple and pray. And all the villagers would come to the temple and pray with the priest. One day, all the villagers came running and they said, priest, priest, the flood is coming. Let's leave, otherwise we'll die. And the priest said, no, this is the house of God. Nothing will happen to me. The flood came, water entered inside the temple. The priest went to the first floor. The rescue team came in boats. They said, priest, priest, come with us, you will die. The priest said, no, this is the house of God. Nothing will happen to me. Now the whole temple was underwater. And the priest was holding the flag on top of the temple. The Air Force came in helicopter. They said, priest, come with us. You will die. Priest said, no, this is the house of God. nothing will happen to me. And the priest died. Now when the priest died, he went to heaven, he came in front of God. God said, priest, I'm so proud of you. Till your last breath, you did not lose faith in me. Till your last breath, you kept talking about me. Welcome to heaven. But you know, the priest was very upset. He said, God, thank you for that, but I'm very upset about one thing. Why did you make me a liar in front of all my followers? I kept telling all my followers, I'm in the house of God, nothing will happen to me. Why did you make me die in your house? And at this, God said, priest, no one knows me better than you. No one. You know me better than anyone else. You know for a fact, I don't do anything myself. I will always send a messenger. I came to you 3 times, and you rejected me. And for this, you go to hell. Mr. Client, I'm sure I'm not the first insurance agent in your life. You see, God does not do anything himself. He will always send a messenger. I am a messenger of God. Does that answer your question? You see, it's not my family, it's not my kids, it's not my business. I don't care. I'm doing God's work. I'm protecting families that are not mine. I'm protecting children that are not mine. I'm protecting businesses that are not mine. If not this, then what else is better than God's work than this? I came in this world to protect. That's what I'm doing. If you don't believe, that's your problem, not mine. I will not stop doing what I do best. And me, as a protector, is my avatar. That's simple. I hope that answers your question. Any other questions? Yes. Could you, oh yeah, here. Okay. Could you come here? If you have a question, just come here, so it's easy. Yes, what's your name?
Hello, good afternoon. My name is James.
Hi, James.
So, first off, thank you for the presentation. I super love it. My question is, you mentioned that your first case, when you first started, your smaller case was any case, then your large case was any case. So, I guess I wanted to ask, what preparations did you make into approaching your very first high net worth case, maybe a premium of $1 million maybe? So what preparations did you make for yourself? Did you actually do some fact finding before maybe? Because this was the first prospect.
Why don't I tell you, why don't I give you an example of exactly what happened with me when I was 19, okay? So, James, by the way guys, this actually happened with me, alright? I was in a party and I got to meet the richest man of Dubai. He was in the party, right? And he knows my grandfather. So he met me and he said, Sanjay, it's so good to see you. What do you do? And I said, well, I've joined my grandfather's business, my father's business, so I'm in the same business. He's like, oh, so you're in the insurance business. How come you've never come to talk to me? And I said, well, I was looking forward to that opportunity. When can I come to see you? He said, why don't you come on Monday at 9 a.m.? Alright? Now imagine this, guys. 9 a.m., I have an appointment with the richest man of Dubai. What time do you think I reached his office? 8:30. I was already outside, sitting in my car, preparing. What will I say? Right? I was preparing. What will I say? At 8:45, I looked at my watch. I'm like, shit, too early. I'll wait. 5 minutes more. I waited in my car. At 8:50, I entered his office. His secretary looks at me and she says, Sanjay, you're early. Would you like a cup of tea, coffee? I said, no, I'm okay. I'll wait for him. At sharp 9 o'clock, he comes out of his office and he says, Sanjay, I'm so glad you're on time. Come, let's go to the boardroom. Now I want all of you to imagine this, okay? The boardroom is as long as this hall. He's got a huge boardroom with a long table, right? So imagine a boardroom with a long table in between, and there are 5 guys sitting over there. And he introduces me to these 5 guys. He says, Sanjay, this is my CEO, my CFO, my lawyer, my investment manager, and my accountant. How many of you want that meeting? Take it. I was shaking. I was literally shaking. Right? Now imagine this, right? Long table, 5 guys sitting on one side, him sitting at the front of the table, I'm sitting on the opposite side. And he sits down and he says, "Yes, Sanjay, what can you do for us?" What preparation are you going to do? Huh? James, what would you say? Hi. Okay. So good to see you. Doesn't work. And I started my presentation. Okay? I have a presentation, but I started my presentation. But I was talking to the CEO on how to use insurance as a business hedge strategy. I was talking to the accountant, talking about how he can use this to mitigate taxes. I was talking to the investment manager on how he can use insurance as a way to manage risk, blah, blah, blah. And I was talking for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, my client, this guy, he stopped me. He said, "Sanjay, stop. I have not understood a single word you said. And if I don't understand something, I don't put my money in it." End of conversation. Now, it was a 30-minute meeting. What do you think we spoke for the next 25 minutes? How are you? How's your family? How's your grandfather? End of conversation. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? I was talking to those 5 people instead of talking to him. I was handling objections before I did my presentation. I was worried about what they think about me, then rather than what he thinks about me. You see, my client, he, the richest man of Dubai, is not even a graduate from high school. He doesn't understand tax planning, investments, risk, VUL, IUL, blah, VUL. He doesn't know any of that rubbish. He doesn't understand insurance. He understands his business. He doesn't understand insurance. The problem is we complicate our presentation so much. You see, I was very smart. I was knowledgeable, but I was stupid because I was complicated. Your presentation has to be so simple that an 8-year-old child understands. But your knowledge should be so powerful that if anyone challenges you, you can knock it out of the park. But your presentation has to be extremely simple. So to answer your question, I prepare. I prepare for every single presentation that I make. But now it has become a muscle memory, so I'm born prepared. You can wake me up at 8 o'clock in the morning and I'm prepared. How many of you want to see a quick presentation for high net worth clients? All right, ask me, Sanjay, how are you?
How are you?
I'm so good. You know, last week, I met with this amazing family, right? Did I run out of paper? Can I have another flip chart? Sorry, I ran out of paper. This is the teacher's problem. We finish paper fast. Thank you. All right. So last week, I met with this amazing family, all right? So the grandfather started the business. He's got 2 sons, A and B, right? A has 2 sons, A1, A2, and B has 1 son, B1, right? Now, A1 is my classmate. So he came to me, he said, "Sanjay, my grandfather started the business. Let's say the value of the business is $10 million. My father and my uncle will get 5 and 5. How much will I get? Guys, how much will he get? 2.5, 2.5? And how much will this guy get? 5. So he said, Sanjay, why will I get 2.5, and he get 5? Shouldn't we all get 3.3? So you know when he asked me this question, I looked at him and I said, bro, I'm not your father. Go ask your dad. How do I know? He's like, are you crazy? I can't ask my father. I said, what do you want me to do? He said, you are my advisor, you ask. So he introduced me to Uncle A and Uncle B, right? And I was sitting with Uncle A and Uncle B and I said, nobody has asked this question. But one day, somebody will ask, who gets how much? And literally in a snap of a second, Uncle B said, Sanjay, our children will inherit our money. What was he trying to say? That my wealth will go to my kids, his wealth will go to his, right? Uncle A, who was the older one, he said, Sanjay, yes, there is a problem. Sanjay, you work with so many families, how would you solve this problem? So I want all of you to answer this question, right? How much do they want? A1, how much does he want? 3.3. How much does A2 want? 3.3. How much does B1 want? 5. So if he gets 5, they get 3.3. Will they be happy? No. So how much do they all want? 5, 5 and 5, correct? How much do we have? 5 and 5. We need one more 5, right? How do I solve a problem like that? There is no 5. So the only way to solve it was to use life insurance. And we bought a $5 million life insurance policy to add to the estate so we can give 555. There is no other solution. And you know, when I did this last week, I had the most amazing week because I was able to solve a family's problem. And this is what we call the third generation syndrome. The first one starts it, the second one manages it, and the third one divides it. And they divide it because they don't destroy it, they divide it. And they divide it because they feel they were not treated equally. So this is called equalization of estate at every generation. A simple strategy that every high net worth family can use. One page, that's my preparation. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, I've got a gift for you. No, that's all right. That's for you. This will help you with your mindset. All right. Oh wow, I've got a lot of questions. Why is that? Because I'm giving you free books? Yes.
Hello, Dr. Sanjay. I am amazed actually on how you tell your clients or relay the concepts to your clients. My question would be, what is your process of on creating these stories or concepts? Are these concepts that you have created by choosing the right words or telling the stories, or are these true stories from actual conversations that you make it more interesting and valuable for them?
All right, so let me give you both, right? So some of these are, by the way, this is an actual case. This is a client of mine in Thailand. This is an actual case study. I love to share actual case studies because they're more genuine. Right? So when you share a real, genuine case study, you can add more value to a client. Okay? So I would always recommend you to use your own cases. But if you don't have a case, you can borrow mine. You can use mine. Absolutely fine. Now coming to how do I create concepts? I'm always looking for ways to explain insurance in a simple way. Because insurance is the least understood business in the world. Most people don't know why insurance was created, right? So it's the least understood. And I want to make it simple for people to understand on how to manage or run insurance. So I keep thinking of all the things that can help me explain what insurance does. So I do make my own concepts. How do I come up with concepts? How do I come up with a choice of words? Practice. You see, when you do practice, you get feedback. If they don't respond to your words are wrong. The only thing that affects people is your words. So if your words are not creating the action, that means your choice of words is wrong. So you have to keep changing your choice of words. You can use my choice of words, and that's why I write down. By the way, all the books I've written, I did not write for you, I wrote them for myself. They are actually my notes. I write down my notes. This worked, this didn't work, this worked, this did work. Because I have to write down what worked, what did not work, correct or not? It's the way I teach myself. I write down, this worked, this did not work. Don't try this again. It had a very negative response. So I keep training myself, and that's why I keep writing my notes. I ended up writing all these books. By the way, I've stopped printing books. I'm not printing any more books because it's a nightmare. Logistics is an absolute nightmare. So whatever you see over here is the last of the books. We're never going to have books again. I don't have time. This is not my business. I did it to train. I believe I've done my job. Now you guys can study yourself. I write down my notes. Right? I'll give an example. You see, our industry has a product called critical illness. Correct? The name is so wrong. Can you imagine you sit down with a client, Mr. Client, I think you should buy some critical illness. It sounds wrong, correct or not? So I was sitting with a client and I said, Mr. Client, I think you should buy some critical illness. You know what he said to me? He said, Sanjay, which one are you selling? My wife already gave me a heart attack. We have named the product wrong. Right? So then I started calling it income replacement. Right? I started calling it income replacement. Mr. Client, why don't you buy some income replacement? And I had a client one day, he told me, he said, Sanjay, who likes to get replaced? Can't you find a better word than that? So after that, I don't say critical illness, I don't say income replacement, I now say income protection. Right? So whenever you ask someone, you know something? What's your name?
John.
John.
Yes.
John, would you want to protect your income?
Yes.
Automatic, the answer is always yes. It cannot be no. Right? But if I say, would you like me to replace your income? You can say, no, I like my income. Why would I replace it? But do you want to protect your income as a positive tonality than a negative tonality? Right? Always remember, try to find more positive words in your presentation. You will become more successful. Alright? And for that, I'm going to give you a simple book. Thank you. That's the book I wanted to give you. Okay, last two questions. Alright. That's for you. Yes. John, could you give her the mic?
Alright.
Hi, Sir Sanjay. My name is MJ, and I would like to ask you this question because we have teammates who are also fresh graduates from university. So,
I don't have teammates.
yeah, but this question is, what advice could you give to insurance advisors who do not have existing high net worth prospects?
Okay, so when I started this business, right, I started with college students. You see, guys, I was only 17 when I started this business. My first batch of clients are all my classmates. Right? You want to know the real story? So, when I joined this business, my first problem was prospecting, just like you. Okay? I went to my best friend's father and I said, Uncle, I'm going to teach your daughter how to save money. You know what he said? He said, Sanjay, you don't know my daughter. The only thing she knows is how to spend money. Right? Every month she'll go buy a Chanel, Prada. She doesn't know how to save money. I said, don't worry, I'll teach your daughter how to save money. But there's a rule. Whatever she saves, I want you to match it. Right? So if she saves $500, I want you to save $500 for her. He said, Sanjay, forget 500, I'll give you 1,000. I said, yes. 1,000 done. I went to my best friend, her name is Z. I said, Z, your father has agreed to double your pocket money. But on one condition, you have to save $500 and he will put $1,000 into your saving account. She said, you know what, Sanjay, you don't know my father. He's so stingy. He's not going to give you even $1. I said, don't worry. You save 500, I get 1,000 from it, and I put it in our account. And that's how I sold my first retirement plan. Okay? And I sold to all my classmates. So I had 60 classmates, I did 60 contracts in my first year, and I qualified MDRT. Right? Now the question is, how do you do it in the second year? Because your classmates are still the same, right? Your classmates don't change. So I went back to uncle, and I said, Uncle, your daughter has a retirement plan, you don't. For your daughter, we are saving 1,500. For you, we should save 3,000, right? So in my second year, I ended up selling 180 plans, and I qualified for COT, right? Now in the third year, you see my classmates are the same, their parents are the same. How do you repeat? How do you repeat your performance? Very simple, change college.
Oh, praise the Lord.
That's why I've done 2 bachelors, 3 masters. So if you have a prospecting problem, what should you do? Go back to school. That's the true story. Right? I hope that answers your question. I have a book for you. This is the book that you can use with your clients. This is for your clients. It's got all the guidelines on how much to save, where to save, etc. Yes, last question.
Okay, I think it's also connected to the previous question that Evan asked. Since you're not a fan of social media, how do you advise young advisors to have more appointments and increase more sales, especially high net worth clients? It's because most of us, I guess, use social media to connect to people.
Yes.
And I guess it has a low it has a low result
It does.
or conversion.
So let me explain something about social media. Alright, so let me get this clear. Social media is a communication tool. Okay? Social media is a communication tool to your followers. But if your followers are all poor people, right, there is no impact. You have no conversion. So your follower quality will decide the type of communication or feedback you get. Now, the other problem is, if you get a negative feedback, right, what happens? It can go viral. And you're going to spend a lot of time continuing or clarifying negative feedback. So, always remember this, social media is a communication tool. It is not a sales tool. It's a communication tool, not a sales tool. If you want to sell as a new advisor, as a young advisor, please learn to connect. And the way you connect is to go to trade shows. Go to a trade show. There are trade shows for oil and gas. There are trade shows for health. There are trade shows for finance. There are trade shows for multiple industries. Go to a trade show. Go meet people. Meet the friends. Meet the family of your friends. Learn to remember, and I'm going to discuss this tomorrow, about estate planning. You see, financial planning is planning for an individual. Estate planning is planning for the family. And it could be for planning for multiple generations. Alright, so please keep this in mind, that while you're using social media, beware that you can get into trouble. You might say something wrong and people might get upset, and you will then go into a negative viral conversation instead of a positive viral conversation. Insurance is not the most loved product in the world. Can we agree?
Yes.
There are more negative comments about our profession than positive. So you have to be ready to be able to handle that negativity, because I have a marketing team. How many of you can afford a marketing team? Alright, let's talk about budget, because I see people who talk about, let's spend some money on advertisements on social media, right? Because I know some of you are. What is your budget for social media advertisements? $200, $300 a month, maybe $100 a month? That's your budget. What's the budget of Prudential for social media marketing on a monthly basis? $300,000. Can you compete with Prudential? No. By the way, AIA has the same budget. FWD, Sun Life, AXA, all the companies have got $2 to $3 million of social media marketing budget. When you compete with them, because the keywords are the same, you're still competing for insurance, life insurance, financial advisor, critical illness, retirement, you're competing for the same keywords. You cannot win that battle. They are way above us. By the way, my budget for social media marketing is $10,000 per day. How many of you can compete? I'm spending $3.6 million on social media marketing every year. Can you compete with me? You can't. By the way, I don't even earn any money doing that. So why do I do it? By the way, my social media budget is not for client sales, it's to help advisors get to the next level. I don't even earn any money doing that. I don't recruit. I have 0 team members. 25 years in the business, I have never recruited, I never will recruit. It is not my calling. Last night I was asked this question and I want to clarify that today again. Sanjay, how do you build a sustainable business if you don't recruit? So I want to clarify something about insurance today. Do you do insurance as a business or do you do insurance as a profession? Hear me very carefully. Are you building a hospital or are you a doctor? If you are building a hospital, you need to recruit doctors. But if you're a doctor, then you want to become the best doctor in your specialization. I am not building a hospital, I am building my professional career. I have a retirement plan, I have an exit plan, but I don't have a continuity plan for my business because I don't run the business. The insurance company runs the business. I am a professional doctor in a hospital, which is something like Pru. Right? Prudential is the hospital, I'm not the hospital. Right? So you have to choose, are you building a hospital or are you building your career as a profession? Sustainability is available on both sides, but choose your direction. And that's one of the most important things in our business, is getting clarity on what are you doing every day with your time. You only have 24 hours, guys. In 24 hours, who are you spending time with will affect your results. Now, before we end today, the next time when someone asks you, how are you? What are you going to say? So good. You don't ask me, and you better do a presentation. What were the 4 rules my father gave? Rule number 1, don't work. Rule number 2, meet people you like every day. Rule number 3, give your best advice to anybody and everybody. Rule number 4, don't care about the results. Guys, tomorrow I'm going to talk to you about estate planning and I'm going to talk to you about how high net worth clients think. I'm going to teach you the different categories of high net worth clients, what are the pros and cons of each high net worth client category, and we're going to discuss that tomorrow. I'm also going to discuss tomorrow exactly how do you position yourself when you sit with high net worth clients, what are the do's and don'ts, and I will tell you what they like and what they don't like, so that you don't repeat it, alright? Your word choice has to change. Your positioning has to change. The way you dress, the way you speak, the way you sit, behave has to change. We're going to discuss all of that tomorrow. The small and the big changes that you need to make to become successful in this business. If you are truly serious about this business, remember, this is a full-time job. It is not a part-time job. Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure.